All right, welcome to The Explainer. Buying big, expensive equipment from overseas can feel like a huge gamble. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful system that takes the guesswork out of it and turns a super complex process into a project you can actually control.
So let's just jump right into a nightmare scenario, okay? One that probably keeps a lot of project managers up at night. Picture this. You've spent millions on a custom machine from a supplier halfway across the world. The crate finally arrives, you pry it open, and boom! It's a total disaster.
And it could be anything, right? Maybe it fails your local safety inspection right out of the box. Or it arrives built to the wrong specs. Or, and this is a classic, the supplier just ghosts you the second you need after-sales support. Any one of these things can turn your critical investment into, a giant, very, very expensive paperweight.
So what if there was a way to build like a firewall against this kind of chaos? Well, there is. The source material for this explainer lays out a battle-tested system designed to do exactly that. Let's dive in.
It's called the stage gate system. And really, you can just think of it as a playbook. It's a standard operating procedure that takes this huge, scary, high-risk purchase and breaks it down into small, manageable chunks. The whole point is to systematically kill risk at every single phase of the project.
Okay, so how does it actually work? Well, the beauty of this whole thing is its simplicity. It's built on three core ideas. You've got gates, which are basically mandatory checkpoints you have to pass. Then you've got deliverables. This is the hard evidence, the proof you need to get through a gate. And finally, the real kicker, payment holds. This means money only gets released when you've seen and verified the evidence. It boils down to this: no proof, no progress, no payment. It's really that simple.
All right, let's see how this thing is built from the ground up. It all starts, as you'd expect, with a super solid foundation. We're going to look at the first three gates, which are absolutely critical for getting this right.
So this first phase has three parts. Gate 0 is kicking off the project. Gate 1 is all about screening your suppliers. And Gate 2, this is a big one, the compliance freeze. You can see the logic here, right? It's like a funnel. You figure out what you need, then who can build it, and finally, how it's going to be compliant, all before you make any real commitment.
And remember, every gate demands actual proof. We're not talking about promises here. For Gate 0, you need a signed user requirement specification, basically a document spelling out exactly what you need. For Gate 1, you need a short list of suppliers with verified case studies, proof they've actually done this before. And for Gate 2, you lock down the technical details and, crucially, a compliance checklist for where the machine is going, like CSA or UL standards.
And this quote just says it all. This is where the system gets its teeth. Gate 2 is your ultimate compliance firewall. If a supplier can't prove, on paper, that they can meet your local safety and electrical standards, the project just stops, dead in its tracks. No PO gets issued. Not 1 cent of a deposit gets paid. It's a non-negotiable stop sign.
Okay, so with that rock-solid foundation set, we're cleared for takeoff. Now we move into the execution phase. This is where all those plans and specs start to become a real physical thing.
This middle section is all about execution. Gate 3 is where you sign the contract. Gate 4 is the deep dive design review. And Gate 5 is one of the most important steps in this whole process, the Factory Acceptance Test, or FAT. This is huge. It's your chance to see and test the machine before it gets packed up and shipped.
So again, what are we looking for? Verifiable evidence. At Gate 3, that's a bulletproof contract with all the technical details attached. At Gate 4, you need signed-off drawings that confirm everything is compliant. And at Gate 5, you get a past FAT report, complete with videos and data proving the machine does what it's supposed to do. The key here is you're fixing problems at the source, in their factory, not yours. It's like fixing a typo in a document versus trying to recall 1 million printed books. It's just so much easier and cheaper.
Now, look at this. This payment structure is really the engine that makes the whole system run. It completely flips the old model on its head, where you pay a massive 50% deposit and just cross your fingers. Forget that. Here, you only release small amounts at first, and the big payments, like these two 30% chunks, are tied directly to huge physical milestones. The supplier has to earn their money every step of the way, and your cash is protected until you see real results.
I love this quote. It's such a key idea. A purchase order by itself, it's basically naked. It has almost no protection. You should think of the PO as just a little green light and execution slip. The real muscle, the real power, and all the rules, they live in the master contract that the PO refers to. That's your armor.
All right, the machine passed its tests in the factory, it's on a boat, and it's headed your way. Awesome. But we're not done yet, not even close. Now comes the final stretch, the phase where we get this thing on site, fired up, and actually making things.
This last phase has two main parts. Gate 6 is all about shipping and what's called the Site Acceptance Test, or SAT. That's the final exam, but this time it's in your factory. Then Gate 7 is the production ramp-up, and finally, closing the project. The whole thing isn't over until that machine is humming along and hitting its targets.
So what's the proof we need here? Well, it's all about real-world performance. You need a signed SAT report that proves the machine works in your facility with your people and your materials. You get the manuals, the training records, the whole shebang. And that final 10% payment, the holdback, that money does not get released until you have a report showing the machine is stable and meeting its output goals. That little 10% is your ultimate piece of leverage to make sure everything is perfect.
Okay, we've gone through all 7 gates, so let's boil this whole thing down. If you're going to take anything away from this, what are the absolute key control points that make this system tick? It really just comes down to these 4 things. 1. Lock down all your local safety and electrical rules at Gate 2 before a dime is spent. 2. Make your big payments conditional on passing the FAT and the SAT. Those are your money gates. 3. Make sure every single PO points back to a strong master contract. And 4. Never, ever skip the pre-shipment FAT. You have to solve problems in their factory, not yours. It will save you a world of pain.
And this quote gets to the very heart of it. The whole philosophy is this: money is the controller. The system isn't really about trusting the supplier or relying on promises. Relationships are great, for sure, but this system is built on something much more concrete. Money only moves when you have verifiable deliverables in your hand, not promises, proof. And that really is what it all boils down to. So the question to ask yourself on your next big project is pretty simple. Is your process built on hope, or is it built on evidence? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.